Dear Aries, do you feel it, something vast, strange? As if an invisible hand has just swung open a door right in front of you. Not an old door, not the past returning, but something entirely new. Stepping toward you like a destined event. This time there's no turning back because you are finally ready to ignite like the true fire you were born to be. And if that's true, write this in the comments. I'm ready to ignite like the true fire I am. Because this is more than just a statement. It is your way of telling the universe, I am ready to receive the greatness that was written in my destiny. In this video, I will reveal why these days mark the biggest turning point of your year, and which specific day this week will signal the beginning of an entirely new chapter in your life. And now, let us step into the very first chapter together. Mars returns home, and the fire within you is awakening. Because right now, Aries, you are no longer someone standing on the sidelines of destiny. Aries, not everyone is fortunate enough to be born under the protection of a planet like Mars. Not everyone is born to be the first, and not everyone carries a flame inside so ready to explode that it only takes the lightest touch from the universe to change everything. And today, that moment has come to you. Because Mars, the warrior of the heavens, has returned home to the sign of Aries. There's something I've learned from decades of studying astrology. Whenever a ruling planet returns to its home sign, it's not just a cosmic event. It's a summons, a calling from your soul, inviting you back to yourself. And do you know what happens when Mars comes home, Aries? No more hesitation, no more delays, no more asking for permission. Only one question remains: are you ready to act? From an astrological perspective, this is one of the rare moments of the year when your first house, seventh house axis is being powerfully activated. The first house where your sense of self is born, your identity, your body, your presence in the world. The seventh house, your relationships, your mirrors, your soul contracts. This activation launches such an intense, energetic push that if you've been feeling stuck, silenced, or misaligned, now is the time when your fire gets permission to rise. And what I want to remind you of is this is not the time to wait for others to understand you. This is the time for you to understand yourself so deeply that no approval from the outside world is needed anymore. I know you've been misunderstood, too blunt, too fast, too much, but let me say this with all the reverence in my heart: you do not need permission to shine. You are fire, you are the beginning. You are the voice that dares to break the silence in a crowded room. And if it's not you, then who will lead? If your heart feels something stirring, write this in the comments right now: I am the fire that clears the path. This is more than a declaration. It is energetic alignment with the very frequency Mars is sending down to you right now. And if you're still wondering where to begin, you've already begun. The moment you allowed yourself to admit, I am standing at the edge of a brand new chapter. I've seen many Aries souls during my chart readings. They come in with eyes ablaze, but hesitation in their breath, held back by wounds they didn't even name, held back by people who once told them, you're too impulsive, you're too intense, you need to calm down. But you know what? No one plants forests unless they carry a fire big enough to burn new paths through old terrain. Today's lesson from the stars is this: don't wait for the world to be ready for you. Step out, and the world will adjust to your light. And here's a deeper truth: action doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes it's a quiet knowing in your mind. Sometimes it's the first no you've said in years. Sometimes it's just one small step toward a dream you buried long ago. And if you've ever felt lost, know that this very week, Mars, the planet of action, is offering you a chance to redirect the compass of your entire life. So ask yourself now, where do I truly want to go? Not where others want you to go, not where you've been told you belong, but where your soul was born to rise. And in the next part, we will move into an even more powerful energetic axis. The 10th house is lighting up, and your soul's calling has never been clearer. Because if you think action alone is enough, Aries, just wait until that action begins to align with your divine purpose. Stay with me. This video was made to awaken the true lighter within you, and if you know someone, another Aries soul, who needs to hear this right now, share this message because they might be waiting for someone to go first. And in the next part, we will step into an energy axis even more powerful. The 10th house is lighting up, and your soul's calling has never been clearer. Because if you think action alone is enough, Aries, it's not yet. What happens when your actions begin to align with the deepest, most sacred purpose of your soul? Stay with me, because this video was made to awaken the true lighter within you. Share this video if you know an Aries who needs to hear this right now. Have you ever gone still in the middle of the night and suddenly heard a voice from within, not someone speaking, no sound at all, but it echoed so clearly? You were born to do something bigger. And once you hear that, you can't pretend you didn't. You can stay silent, you can delay, but you'll never be the same again. Aries, this is the moment when your 10th house, the house of purpose, public identity, and soul mission, is lighting up in your birth chart. In astrology, the 10th house is the place where we can no longer avoid who we truly are. It doesn't ask if you're ready, it only asks, are you brave enough to step out? And bravery, that's what you've always had, Aries. Even if there were times you doubted yourself, even if life tried to shrink you to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, the fire in you never went out. It was just waiting for the right wind to rise again. And now, this is that moment when the MC-IC axis is activated, especially by powerful transits like the Sun, Jupiter, or Saturn. You're not just being offered career opportunities. You are being given a sign from the universe. Now is the time to rise, not just to work, but to fulfill your mission. Do you feel the difference? Work is survival. Mission is the reason your soul came here. No sign carries the spirit of initiation, of breaking new ground, of lighting the paths, like you do, Aries. I once met an Aries man in his 60s. He had spent his life in a stable, respectable job, but never truly felt alive. Then one day, when Saturn returned to his midheaven, he quit and he started painting. At 60 years old, he painted like his childhood had never been interrupted. He told me, I don't know why I waited this long, but for the first time in my life, I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. You say, not everyone dares to live true to their calling, but if you do, you don't just change your path, you shift your destiny. When the 10th house lights up, so does the 4th, the house of roots, family, and your inner sanctuary. Because once you know where you're meant to go, you must also be willing to leave behind what once felt like home, and that's not easy. Your chest will tighten when you say no to someone you love, when you walk in a direction the crowd doesn't understand, when you stand alone, long before the light shows up, but then you'll feel it with each step in the right direction. Your soul grows a little lighter. And sometimes happiness isn't found at the finish line. Sometimes happiness is simply knowing I'm finally walking the right road. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. That's not an accident. You were born to go first, to clear the way. And every time you listen to the quiet voice within you and take a single brave step forward, you're making space for others to do the same. You may not see it. You may think you're just trying to live honestly. But that action is an invisible gift you are offering the world. I want you to ask yourself this question tonight. If no one pushed back, if there were no fear, what would I truly want to do? Let that question rest in your heart. It will answer you when you least expect it. Maybe while you're working, maybe while you're cooking, or maybe just staring out the window as the late afternoon light falls softly through the leaves. The soul's calling is never loud, it whispers, and you must grow quiet to hear it. If you're still here, still listening to these words, then I believe something inside you has begun to stir, maybe just a little, maybe like a subtle ache or a wave of emotion with no clear cause. That's a good sign, because the 10th house isn't just shining light on your life right now. It's ringing a bell, and all you have to do is answer. If you've always felt like you were meant to do something greater, you were right. You're not delusional. You're not lost in fantasy. You're simply remembering what your soul already knew long before you arrived here. And if anything I've said makes your heart skip a beat, share this video, because maybe someone out there is wrestling with the same calling, and they're just waiting for someone else to speak first. Remember, you don't need to know all the steps, you just need to take the first one. The universe will take care of the rest. And if you're wondering, is this really my moment? Here's my answer. And the answer from the skies: yes, it is now. And in the next part, we'll step into a truth you can no longer ignore. The unexpected ending, and the strange doorway that only opens when you let the old fall away. There are things you don't want to lose, but must release, and there are things you've never dared to dream of that will find you the moment you say goodbye to what no longer fits. Don't miss the next section, Aries, because that's when you'll understand. To be reborn, you must sometimes fall. One last time, Aries. There are moments in life that don't come with noise, or drama, or cinematic breakdowns. They pass quietly, like a door closing softly behind you, and then you look back and realize you're never going back there again. We often call that an ending, but the universe calls it a rebirth. Pluto, the planet of deep transformation, is now moving strongly through your 12th house. And if you've been dreaming more lately, thinking more deeply, falling into old memories that seemed long buried, you are not weak. You are in a sacred shedding. The 12th house is the dark room of the soul. It holds the unnamed pain, the old wounds you skipped past because you were too busy being strong. And Pluto doesn't come to destroy them violently. It comes to help you peel off the old skin, like a snake, slowly shedding what no longer fits. I've seen hundreds of Aries walk through moments like this. They're not afraid to fight, not afraid of challenge. But what makes them freeze is letting go, because letting go means I won't be who I was anymore. I won't have the old familiar to cling to. I'll walk into a space where no one can promise me it will be okay. But you know what, Aries? It's in that exact moment That the strange doorway begins to open, not out there, but inside you. Forgiveness, release, closure. They all sound abstract, so let me give you a picture. Imagine you are a clay jar. Each time you let go of an old expectation, forgive a past hurt, untie a broken promise, you are pouring out some of the old water. From the jar, over the years, you've filled it with clean water, dirty water, memories, pain, unfinished hopes until one day it's full, no more space, so now you must pour out, bit by bit, to make a space for something pure that life is trying to offer you. Pluto never demands you lose everything, but it always insists something must die, so that something new can live. And sometimes what must die is not the relationship, not the old dream, but the version of you that once believed they had to suffer in order to be loved, the one who thought that if they softened, shrunk themselves, fit in just right, they would finally be safe from abandonment. Aries, you are not strong because you don't feel pain. You are strong because you dare to walk through pain, to touch the truth, and the truth right now is this: something has reached its time to leave. A person, a habit, a version of yourself, an outdated way of thinking. And the surprising thing is, you won't need to force anything, you just need to admit, I've outgrown this. I still remember an Aries woman who once sat across from me. She was 50 years old. Her eyes were red, not from regret, but from realization. She had just ended a 30-year marriage. She wasn't crying because she missed him. She was crying because, for the first time, she realized she had spent 3 decades trying to be a good wife, but never once asked herself, but what about me? On the day she decided to leave, it rained. No one stopped her, just her. A suitcase and a strange feeling in her chest. She said, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I can't stay. I'll let you say. Some doors don't need to be locked. They're just waiting for you to walk away, so they can close on their own. And the universe, like a patient father, won't open a new door for you if you're still standing in the old hallway. With Pluto moving through your 12th house, your dreams may feel more intense. You might dream of someone who once hurt you. You might see your younger self, naive, fragile, or rebellious. You might wake up feeling like you just stepped out of another world. Don't be afraid. This is how your subconscious heals. This is how the deepest parts of your soul, the ones words can't reach, begin to be cleansed. And if right now you feel empty inside, don't rush to fill it. Let it stay empty, because it's in that sacred emptiness that light can begin to soak in. If this is touching something inside you, leave these words behind as a quiet vow to yourself. I am ready to shed my old skin and embrace who I truly am. Because loss is not always loss. Sometimes it's the universe removing what no longer belongs to you. And when you accept the loss, you'll begin to feel lighter. Not because you're escaping, but because you've finally stopped carrying what was never meant to stay. Aries, you were not born to hold on to shattered pieces. You were born to burn and be reborn, not just once, but many. And in the next part, I will take you to the most important moment of this entire journey. Your soul is being called by the universe itself, and you must answer now. Don't look away, because if you've already shed the old skin, then right now, something sacred is drawing near. Aries, there is a kind of calling That doesn't come from someone's voice, not from a message, not from a phone call, but from a silent wave inside your chest. You don't hear it with your ears, but you feel it, like a quiet tide, repeatedly pressing against your heart. This is how the universe calls your soul by name. And if lately your days have felt quieter, your eyes easier to fill with tears, your memories resurfacing, ones you thought were long buried, this isn't weakness, this is a sign. A sacred gate is opening, not outside of you, but from deep within. Astrologically, this is one of the most profound chapters of your year. Aries, the sun, the planet of your will and essence, is forming a harmonious trine with Chiron, the asteroid of wounds, healing, and sacred pain. And it's doing so in your sign, in your first house of self. This is no ordinary alignment, it's a holy invitation, not just to see your wound more clearly than ever before, but to finally understand the divine meaning of the pain that once brought you to your knees. Aries is the sign of beginnings. But deep in your heart, you already know the real beginnings don't always start with fireworks. Sometimes they start with the quiet moment after everything falls apart. When you whisper to yourself, "How am I still standing?" I know people see you as strong, and maybe they tell you that all the time, but only you know. How many cracks you've carried behind each smile, only you know. How many winters you've walked through in silence. How many times you pretended to be fine so others wouldn't worry. How many times you turned down help, not out of pride, but because you knew they wouldn't understand what you're truly carrying. And now Chiron returns like an old friend, gently knocking on your heart, asking, is it time to stop hiding that wound? I don't know the name of your wound. Maybe it's a father who never looked at you with kindness. Maybe it's a first love that made you doubt your worth for a decade. Maybe it's a failure that made you too afraid to dream again. But I do know this, the universe never wastes a single ounce of your pain. When the sun trines Chiron, you are not being asked to fight, you are being invited to look back at your wound. As a sacred part of your story, you are being asked, can you turn your pain into a gift for the world? I once met an Aries man, a war veteran. He couldn't sleep for 20 years until one day he started writing, not for anyone, just for himself. And do you know what happened? Hundreds, thousands found healing in his words, even though he never meant to help anyone. Because when you dare to sit with your own pain, you open a space where others feel permission to begin healing too. Aries, I believe this with all my heart. Inside you is a wound so deep that if you dared to speak of it, with nothing but honesty in your eyes, you could soothe an entire generation that feels lost. You don't have to be a psychologist. You don't have to be a speaker, a writer, or a healer. You just need to be you. And say, I've been hurt, but I still choose the light. You'll never know who has been quietly watching you and using you as their reason to keep going. The greatest lesson right now is what to do. It's this: are you willing to see that you, flaws and all, are the one most worthy of beginning this next chapter? And if you feel alone in this process, please know you're not the only one. Many strong souls heal in solitude because most of the world still celebrates what shines on the outside, while you are clearing space inside. So make this a vow to yourself in the comments: I'm ready to turn my pain into light. That's not just a sentence, it's a sacred agreement, a signal to the universe that I'm no longer running. Aries, you don't need to be perfect to begin this new chapter. You just need to be honest with yourself. Honest about the story you've carried far too long. Remember, no one can steal your light. If you decide not to hide it anymore, and when you choose to answer the call this time, you'll begin to say, everything that once caused you pain becomes a soul language you now use to connect with the world. A language no one teaches, only those who have broken, cried, and fallen can understand. And you, Aries, you understand it more than anyone. In the next part, we're stepping into one of the most powerful transitions of your year. The biggest planet is supporting you and opening a rare portal of destiny. Because after healing comes a new question: do you truly believe you deserve abundance? And your answer will shift your entire fate, Aries. When you've journeyed through the deepest layers of pain, when your soul starts to hear its true inner calling, that's when the universe sends a reward. This time, not another test, but a doorway, one that's slowly opening. Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system, bringer of expansion, fortune, and divine blessings, is entering your second house. If you pause long enough to feel it, you'll know this isn't just about money. This is a sacred examination of your self-worth. Do you truly believe you deserve a better life? Not when you've improved, not when others approve, but now. Just as you are. After everything you've survived, while others wait for the perfect timing to act, you, Aries, already began. You didn't wait until you had certainty. You believed in yourself, even before the world believed in you. That's what sets you apart, and that's exactly why this opportunity is coming to you, not to someone else. Never forget, true abundance doesn't start from the outside. It begins the moment you choose yourself first. When you realize, I don't need anyone's permission to live fully. So if you've ever underestimated your worth, today is the day you choose again. Type this in the comments as a soul promise: I choose myself, and I deserve a life that's whole. And in the final part coming up, I will share with you something sacred. Why after today you will no longer be the person you were yesterday. Don't leave just yet, because this ending is a divine confirmation meant just for you. Aries, you didn't come to this video by accident, and you don't need anyone's permission to change your life. I used to be like you, sitting quietly in the night, wondering if that light was meant for me, but I chose to step out. And today you can too. And if something in your heart is trembling, trust that it's a reminder from your soul. You are not the light to please others. You are the light to open paths no one has ever dared to walk. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Every word, every moment shared here is a sacred piece of my mission, and if it touched you, then this journey has been complete. If you're ready to enter your new chapter, leave this affirmation in the comments: I've heard the calling and I'm ready to step into the next chapter of my life. And if you think this is the end, it's not. In the next video, I will share with you why the next 3 days are the most powerful activation window of destiny. For Aries, this entire year, I'll meet you there. The journey isn't over, and you are